of CBS Sports. He's also put out his top 100 free agents out there. Alec Pierce is not number one. Number one is Tyler Linderbaum. But Pierce, I believe, is the number one free agent receiver on his list. To the Western Hotline, the conversation on the Colts, who have a bit of a, I don't know, they have a very big role in what could happen in, well, the receiver market. Derek Schultz, who hosts Locked On Colts, joins us here on the Western Hotline. Derek, good morning. It's Jeremy and Joe. Thanks for taking some time today.
Good morning, fellas. Thanks for having me.
How do you feel about Alec Pierce as a player? Do you think the Colts will bring him back? And is he worthy of all this attention he's getting on the free agent market? We, of course, have seen how he opens up a deep passing game. Have you seen growth where he's ready to take a next step?
Yeah, I think really the answer is yes to both of those questions. It's a guy that they absolutely want to bring back. In fact, he's probably their number one priority when you get past Daniel Jones, who they're talking about like it's a fait accompli that he's going to be their quarterback in 2026. So whether they have to use the franchise tag just to give themselves some more time to work out a contract extension, all signs point to the fact that they want Alec Pierce to be a part of this team long term. You know, guys, he's really emerged as the Colts' number one receiver, passing Michael Pittman Jr., had his first 1,000-yard season this year. But it's really more than just about the numbers, because if you pull up Alec Pierce's Pro Football Reference page, you kind of look through and be like, okay, like what's the BFD with this, right? But when you actually watch him play and you see actually what he does for the offense, even when he's not getting the ball, he just opens up the field for everybody else because he is such a deep threat. And early on in his time in Indianapolis, folks here thought that, okay, well, this guy's one of a one-trick pony, right? He's like the home run hitter that bats, 210. And he's turned himself into more than that. He's developed into a really great route runner, and he's a great at high pointing the football and going up and getting it type guy. He's a great red zone threat. Alec Pierce has become just by far the Colts' best well-rounded receiver, and I think he's still has room for more. Can even progress to being, a top 15, top 20 level receiver in the entire league.
So with that, do you think they're going to make an effort to keep him? And is that why we're seeing some stuff online about Michael Pittman and whether they'll, move on from him or do contract restructures? What's their effort level, you think, going to be to keep Pierce?
Yeah, their effort level is going to be high. And Michael Pittman Jr. do a $29 million cap hit, which I can't imagine the Colts are going to swallow for a guy that has regressed. And, he's been through it. He's been banged up, and he has soldiered through, and he's one of the locker room leaders. But the production just isn't there for a cap number like that. So they'll either restructure Pittman or deal him, and he won't be part of the team next year because, like I said, Pierce has become their number one guy. So I do think that they're going to be highly, highly motivated to bring him back. And look, guys, Chris Ballard it's hard to believe. He's entering year 10. Either of you know the last time the Colts won a playoff game? I'll answer the question for you. 2018. They have not made the playoffs since 2020. If you guys can find me a general manager in the league that has made it 10 years with one playoff win on his resume, I'm all ears. But eventually, Chris Ballard and this front office, they're going to have to actually, win something. So I think they're going to be really motivated to bring Pierce back because with new ownership now, with the Jim Irsay's daughters running the show, they are looking for results, and the results really just have not been there for this franchise. Really, you have to go back to the Andrew Luck era to find them.
With these two, do you think it's a domino thing? Like, if they were to get Pierce signed, then it would be, okay, move on from Pittman, whereas if they don't get Pierce signed, he leaves in free agency, they restructure and try to continue to make it work with Pittman?
To Ballard's credit, guys, they have cap room flexibility. They have about $37 million in room. They have some other veterans that they could choose that are in the final years of their deal that they could choose to move on from for some cap savings. Pittman Jr. makes the most sense. But I don't know if it's necessarily you bring Pierce back, you have to move on from Pittman thing. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I think they have enough flexibility to essentially keep both. But they will not keep Pittman for a $29 million cap hit for next year. They're not going to do that. So if they do end up keeping Pittman, I think they're going to try to restructure him, even if they end up bringing back Alec Pierce in free agency.
It does feel like, at least from my perspective, Derek, that even if Pittman is back there, that the offense has seemed to morph from he was the number one guy for a long time and very good, but now Pierce plus what Tyler Warren did as a rookie. Like, would this be right that even if Pittman is there, like he might be, and this could be fine, but he would be third on the pecking order?
Yeah, he would be. And really from a playmaking ability, that's sort of where he's been for a while now, seemingly. And, he's always been kind of the bell cow, the production guy, less so the flash guy. Pierce had been the flash guy, and we saw Tyler Warren really flash last year as a rookie as well. But, you had Josh Downs into the mix as well, who's shown some things and has been a nice possession receiver. If they added a day 2 draft pick at receiver to go along with it, Jonathan Taylor still is playing at a very high level as one of the best running backs in the league. If Daniel Jones comes back from an Achilles, which is, that's a big if, right? But if he comes back from the Achilles as a reasonable version of himself, you could talk yourself into his offense being pretty good. But it's all centered around Pierce. They can't possibly let him go because he is by far their best playmaker on a team that just desperately needs playmakers.
If Pittman did shake free for whatever reason, what kind of idea do you think he would be to a team like the Bills? Like, how much do you see him having left in the tank, and is he still capable of being a great team's number 1 option?
No, here's the thing about him. I don't think he was ever a great team's number 1 option. I think he was the Colts' number 1 option for a long time because they had nobody else. Now, in Pittman's defense, the quarterback situation, as you guys know, I think everybody knows, has been a mess, right? Since Andrew Luck, and they've Pittman came in with Phillip Rivers, which was actually the most stable situation that he probably faced, and then it was Wentz, and then it was the corpse of Matt Ryan. And then it was Anthony Richardson. And so, he had to, like I said, kind of soldier through things as far as early on in his career. And he still found ways to produce and get numbers. But he's a guy that can still get you probably 750, 800 yards, something like that, and be a good number 2 or number 3 option. And also, he plays through injuries all the time. He's a fantastic teammate. He's a vocal leader. There are a lot of good things that Michael Pittman Jr. still brings to the table, but elite number 1, dynamic, none of that stuff does he have, nor has he ever really had in his bag.
Derek Schultz on the Colts here. Derek, one last thing for me. The Colts don't have a first-round pick. They made that bold trade for Sauce Gardner, which it's funny. Like I'm interested to hear your thought on this. I applauded that move. I know it's a bold move, but and ultimately the team fell apart at the end of the season. You kind of can't predict things like that. To me, listen, we live in a world where we have Josh Allen here in Buffalo, and I feel like teams that don't have that superstar quarterback are sometimes treated like they shouldn't try. And for me, when the Colts did that, I thought, like, you know what? Hey, you're having a great season. Try something. Try to be great. Try to win other ways. And, of course, like they still have Sauce Gardner, but no first-round picks for the next 2 years. If it falls apart, will that be on Chris Ballard's death certificate? Did you appreciate it at least, knowing it's a gamble? How does it generally go over there?
Yeah, I agree with you because, so often in sports we want to judge things on the result rather than the process. And the process at that time felt good, right? The AFC was wide open, and it turned out the AFC was wide open. That Patriots team was okay. That wasn't a great Patriots team, right? And Denver, obviously they had the Bo Nix injury, but, at the top of the AFC this year, it was an off-brand Chiefs team. It was a good Bills team, not a great Bills team. Houston was okay. I think it made sense to kind of push your chips in and really go for it, even if it ended up sort of aging like milk because Jones had the leg injury and then he had the Achilles kind of right after that. And as you said, the season fell apart. But, 2 1s and a player, and A.D. Mitchell, a young player for a cornerback is a really heavy price to pay. But, if it ends up not working out, I think we'll talk about that. But also 1 playoff win in 10 years, guys, is the other thing that we'll talk about on Chris Ballard's epitaph.
Right.
Last thing, who's the Colts Week 1 starting quarterback? And also, when's the last time someone on February 19th asked you that and you knew the answer?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's a great one. It's been a minute. I do think that Daniel Jones will be ready to play Week 1, but I'll add this caveat. There's a difference between being physically able to go and being to yourself. And I think with what we've seen with Achilles injuries, expecting Daniel Jones to be even 90% Week 1 is probably asking a lot. So I do think that he's going to be under center in Week 1, but I think it's going to take a little while for him to kind of regain last year's form if he ever regains it, honestly.
Very good. Derek Schultz on the Colts. Thanks, Derek.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Derek Schultz of Locked On Colts. Good info there. So if that all plays out, they'll keep Pierce. I mean, he
sounds
sure
like they'll keep Pierce, and it sounds like I want Pierce.